So I was reading from this book. This passage from the Chaldean Oracles and Theurgy is quite interesting. I wanted to read it out loud, but I'm not trying to change your mind or convince you of anything, okay? I'm just reading from a book. Above the super-celestial vault, there subsists an unbounded mobile fire, the infinite aeon. Invincible he strides among the blessed ones, unless the Great Father resolves that he shall be seen. There the ether does not bear the radiant stars, nor is the luminous moon set aloft there. No god encounters him on his way, nor I myself, who hold together with my rays, spread out in the world of the ether. But there is a long path of the fiery god, winding spiral-wise, sounding. Whoever has touched the ethereal fire of that god cannot tear his heart away from it, for it has no power to burn. Through incessant care, in virtue of the action of God Himself, an aeon mingles with the aeons, self-generated, untaught, motherless, unshakable. His name, not to be apprehended by words, dwelling in fire. That is God. We angels are only a small troop of God. That's the end of the quotation. This comes directly from the second century oracle and theurgist of Rome. And then he breaks it down. The oracle indicates, first of all, the abode of this ineffable God. It is situated above the highest celestial vault, that is to say, above the sphere of the fixed stars, regarded as the outermost of the heavenly spheres. Below him is the zone of the ether. It is there that the fixed stars, the moon and the gods, that is, the deified planet, and Apollo himself, identified with Helios, the god of the sun, subsist. Above this zone, the fiery god wends his serpentine way in a solitary majesty. He is fire and dwells in fire. That is in the highest zone situated above the ether. There the aeons are mingled. This God of eternity, whose subordinates or angels all the other gods are said to be, is called by Apollo the infinite aeon and God. It is the absolute sense of this word. He has, however, a superior, the Great Father, and according to the oracle, he becomes visible when the Father wills it, a mysterious epiphany, the nature of which we cannot yet determine. This God's relation to the terrestrial spheres seems to be clearer. Man is illuminated, but not consumed by his fire. Whoever has touched it cannot tear his heart away. This allusion to a process of illumination furnishes a decisive argument in favor of the Chaldean origin of these verses, for it has its counterpart in passages found in several of the extant Chaldean oracles, which describe the soul's ascent towards the light and the rays of the Father. whose fire descends and enkindles the soul of the initiate. The mortal who approaches the fire will obtain light from God. The illuminated souls repose in God, inhaling the potent fires which descend from the Father. Thus, the illuminating fire descends from the Father towards God, who, so that the initiate may obtain the light, not from the Supreme Being directly, but from God. That is to say, from a subordinative potency. The Chaldeans, as well as the Oracle of Apollo, distinguish between inaccessible Father and the fiery Aeon, whom they designate elsewhere as the Father begotten light. This aeon must accordingly be considered as the transmitter of the mystic fire. You see, it's it's in between. It's the intermediary in between. The great principle, the first principle, doesn't really, interact with the what's below. You see, it merely emanates energy, and this energy is then transmitted by this intermediary, transmitted to everybody in the lower spheres. So what we perceive as light, when you look at the sky, it's not from Helios. It's not really light. It's illumination. Illumination coming from God. God transmits this radiation, this illumination, this energy towards the other gods, the deified planets, and the moon, and the sun, and then they transmit it to the living things. That's what gives life to the world that Very curious when when he says here in the beginning, when he says, "No God encounters him on his way, nor I myself, who hold together with my rays spread out in the world of the ether." When he's saying his together with his rays, he's talking about astral projection. He is doing theurgy. He's astral projecting. He's walking with the gods, quote unquote. But he can't go beyond the ether. Yeah, that's what he's saying. So, is there anything else I wanted to mention? I kind of forgot. There was something else, but I forgot. All right, so this is very similar to the Vedic cosmology and to the Egyptian. There's this first principle, and then there's the attribute. The first principle, nobody, can attain it, so to speak. The first principle has an intermediary, which is the attribute. Yes, and the attribute is what harvests, quote unquote, the energy, and acts like a transmitter, or acts like a transformer. And because if you got hit directly with the light, I think we wouldn't survive. So it's kind of transmuted or transformed by this intermediary. This light is what then feeds the lesser gods, including the sun, and then it feeds the inhabitants of the world. Everything material that we are seeing is nothing but this light, illumination, should I say, but it's hardened. Everything is hardened, so it becomes physical. You see. All right. So I think I'm going to end here. Have a nice day.